So we're at the base of the Pride Shale member, basal unit of the Bluestone Formation. Sandstone you're looking at the bottom is the very top of the Princeton Sandstone, which some people consider a separate formation. Personally, based on regional mapping, I consider it to be actually more correct a part of the Bluestone because there's a major unconformity at the base, erosional unconformity, which we'll see Friday. But we'll see the Princeton here directly. So what kind of lithology do we have in the sand?
It's very fine grain, crystalline.
Quartz-arenite.
Is it conglomeratic at all?
At the base.
At the very base.
We're away from the base.
Okay. How thick is it?
Well, 0 in places to 50, 75 feet.
Okay.
So we will look at the base. One of the things you see in the Princeton near the base is what they call polymictic conglomerate. And it has a lot of locally derived clasts. And we've been able to map around Princeton. We'll show you places. Get a lot of sandstone. Just down the road, there's no sandstone. And then there's near Beckley, we found a place you actually can see the valley wall, which is a rarity that you can walk up, put your finger on the Paleo Valley wall.
That's pretty cool.
And there's a valley wall slumps into the channel right there. And you'll sit there and say, oh, big sandstone, see this? And then a big concealed interval, and you'll say, well, how do you know it's not there? I trenched the whole damn thing, so I know.
So polymictic, do you get like limestone and chert and like?
Yes. Because the next unit down below the Princeton is the Eads Mill member, marine member that has some marine limestone and a lot of shale units, and we find hunks of Eads Mill up in the Princeton.
Okay.
So when we passed under that last bridge, coming down the mountain, we said, what bridge? That last bridge up there is the Mississippi-Pennsylvania boundary. The uppermost Bluestone member, the Bramwell Bluestone Formation, Bramwell member, Marine Transgression, is exposed just below that, and right above that we have Pocahontas Formation, Pennsylvania, which is totally terrestrial, and we know it's Pocahontas because of plant fossils. We love our plant fossils. Then you notice all of a sudden, lots of red beds. That's the informal red member, the Bluestone. Now, I will warn you now that I will use Bluestone and Bluefield incorrectly interchangeable.
Right. Yeah, me too.
It's like my mom, we had me and Bob's my brother, and Dad was Bim, and whoever she was yelling at was always last in the list. So, but Bluestone, Bluefield, with the hinting in between. As you come up above the Princeton, you come up through a marginal terrestrial sequence.
Okay.
So there's plants. It's got zones in here loaded with plant fossils, rooted zones. They plant trash. They plant, a bunch of stems.
Is that what those are?
Yeah.
I did a walk down here by
Stems and roots. So I have dug this all out. There's a couple places that you can actually get to it. There's a couple little almost wannabe thin coal beds here. So Princeton, you go through a little terrestrial. Then we're going to have a transgressive lag we're going to see up here. Sand about this big, and we'll talk about that when we get there. Well, in reality, if you were field mapping, you get top the Princeton, you see all that crap above it, you probably map this as Pride. Technically, the Pride starts there, so we have about 15 feet of not Princeton, not Pride.
Is that a
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
I thought I
it
saw
is.
There was some more over there around the corner.
You see her up there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
You used to be able to see them.
I
This
missed this.
shale gets pretty black, and it was loaded with them.
Or it was plant roots. Okay.
See the limestone concretion there? Come out from above. Now I'm going to ruin all your guys' life. Back in 1977, one guy was here and broke one and found fish about this big, but the head was gone. Since then, there's been 9,878,421 of these nodules broken with nothing in them.
Wow.
And I've done my share.
That's crazy.
And you don't have to hit them hard. If you got a good fossil like that, they'll split because that's the zone of weakness. These,
I don't think so, but maybe.
What are you looking for?
yeah, that's by the house.
That's almost a pressure butt.
Looks like a lingula.
Is that a lingula?
Yeah.
Woo! Let's see.
So as we were coming up above the Princeton, we had a little terrestrial. We saw some plant debris and stuff. And we should see a lag, but it was all slumped over, unfortunately. Then you saw the black shale with limestone nodules that has one fish fossil in it. And we found some crappy little bivalves or maybe orbiculoid, but fairly fine grained. Now we come up to this laminated siltstone. And there are people in this world much foolisher than I am, and they've cut big blocks out of this, polished it, and measured the laminae, and you can actually see Milankovitch cycles in the sequence. So technically this will be a tidalite. And I'm not going to give you the references. It's Dan Miller, but you can look all this stuff up in my dissertation. So if we're going from a transgressive lag, we had a depauperate fauna coming up into silty, so we're coursing it upward. What's that tell me about sea level?
Increasing.
Huh?
Increasing.
We're going from flying to course?
Oh, no, decreasing.
Decreasing. We're shallowing up. And if this has this whole sequence, 100, 150 feet at places, is tidal, how deep is the water?
Shallow.
Pretty shallow, yeah, because the tides aren't going to go very far. Now there are places we'll walk up, you can see there's channels have been, aqueous channels have been cut in with some slumping. We have found lingula, that's all I've ever found up here. But in the lag that we didn't see, we got articulate brachiopods. I found a trilobite. I think we have some more orthocaris. What's the orthocaris? Yeah, the straight cephalopods. Orthocaris. What is it? Senior moment. Been too long. We found cephalopods. If you got trilobite, articulate brachiopods, Rugus, coral, you're full marine.
Oh, for sure.
But this is in a sand layer, varies from 0 to maybe 1.5 feet thick, that grades up into this black shale. It's all bioturbated. Nothing's in life position, so it's been churned up, real shallow transgression, and then the water deepened real fast. And we had this black shale we were looking at, and it shallows up. Now, how deep? Because it's really dark, there's a lot of organics coming in, so if you had restricted circulation, you could have low oxygen levels. So it doesn't have to be hundreds of feet deep. It could just be restricted. But we're going from finer to coarser. So look at that. This is a classic tidalite. What you look at when you look at a suspicious rock, if it looks corrugated like cardboard on weathered surfaces, that'd be a strong indication you're looking at cyclicity. Now, is it? So when you look at this level, then walk up and look closer, and you can see there's banding within the thicker roots. So over here you can see them. They look to be centimeter scale, but a lot of them, if you look within that, they're banded. That's your Milankovitch cycle.
Right, right. Well, it's all going to be subtidal, shallow.
It's tidal.
Oh, it's intertidal.
This is intertidal. Yeah. Not
so
subtidal. It's not, this is a tidal control.
Submarily exposed.
No, well,
that's
no,
what I
probably not.
meant by
You'll find it rooted. Okay, yeah.
It would be totally
Subaqueous.
but totally under lowest low tide, but yet quite shallow and anoxic and restricted.
Yes.
Yeah. And the cyclicity comes from seasonally, or
they claimed they had all the spring and neap tides, and they could see.
Okay.
They did the measurement. They're tougher band than I am.
It looks different when it weathers over the.
Huh?
I said it looks a whole lot different when it weathers over all the years on an outcrop.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't look like this in core.
Yeah, and the laminations are there.
Oh, sure, yeah. But I mean just the general appearance of the outcrop. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it's really interesting. As we drive on down, we'll be in this for a while, and it really weathers what they call cassellate weathering, because it looks like big castle turns and stuff, where the joints weather out. And
okay. So, do you think this is like little faults running through here, or is it just
these are just joints?
They're just joints. Okay. Then what causes like the vertical fracture looking things in
well,
there?
once you have a joint, that means the water can run down in.
Yeah.
So it's messing things up that way.
Okay.
And things are moving up and down
Okay.
with the water.